If there's one area I regularly see confusion around when someone passes away, it's inheritance tax. And the surprising thing is, most people assume they either don't need to worry about it or that it only applies to very large estates. But in practice, it's often a bit more nuanced than that. I'm a solicitor specializing in probate and estate administration in England and Wales, and I've seen firsthand how inheritance tax can catch families off guard at exactly the wrong time, usually when they're already dealing with everything else that comes with a bereavement. So in this video, I'm going to break it down in a very straightforward way: what inheritance tax actually is, when it applies, how much it is, and the key things people often misunderstand. And if you're dealing with probate or trying to get your head around how this all works, I also share practical step-by-step explanations like this on the channel, so feel free to subscribe if you want to follow along with the rest of the series. Now, let's start with the basics. Inheritance tax is a tax on a person's estate when they pass away. The estate includes things like property, savings, investments, and in some cases, gifts made during lifetime. It's calculated based on the total value of everything, and importantly, it's usually paid before any money is distributed to beneficiaries. The key starting point is the tax-free threshold. In the UK, this is currently £325,000, often referred to as the Nil Rate Band. If the total estate is below this amount, there is usually no inheritance tax to pay. If it's above, then inheritance tax may apply to the excess. The standard rate of inheritance tax is 40%, but this only applies to the value above the threshold, so it's not 40% of the entire estate, just the part that exceeds the allowance. There is also an additional allowance called the Residence Nil Rate Band. This can apply where a main home is left to direct descendants, such as children. It can increase the overall tax-free amount significantly in some cases. Another important rule is the spousal exemption. Assets left to a spouse or civil partner are usually exempt from inheritance tax, and any unused allowance can often be transferred to the surviving partner. Gifts made during lifetime can also affect inheritance tax. There's something known as the 7-year rule. In simple terms, if someone makes a gift and lives for 7 years after making it, it may fall outside their estate, but if they don't, it could still be taken into account. When calculating inheritance tax, everything in the estate needs to be considered. That includes property, savings, investments, and personal belongings, and in some cases, certain gifts made during lifetime as well. Inheritance tax is usually paid by the estate itself. The executor is responsible for making sure it is dealt with properly, and it's paid before any distributions are made to beneficiaries. In most cases, inheritance tax needs to be dealt with before probate is granted. That means it's one of the earlier steps in the process, and there are deadlines involved, so it needs to be handled carefully. There are quite a few common misunderstandings around inheritance tax. For example, not everyone pays it, it's not 40% of the whole estate, and gifts don't automatically avoid tax, so it's important to look at the full picture. To give a simple example, if an estate is worth £500,000 and the threshold is £325,000, then inheritance tax may apply to the remaining £175,000, and that's where the 40% rate comes in. So the key takeaway is this: inheritance tax depends on the value of the estate and the allowances available. Not everyone pays it, but where it applies, it can be significant. If you're dealing with an estate at the moment, understanding inheritance tax is a really important part of the process. I've put together a free Executors Checklist that walks you through everything step by step. You can download it using the link in the description. And if you'd like clear, practical guidance on probate in England and Wales, feel free to subscribe.